Alrighty, party peoples of the interwebs, tonight is the night we've all been waiting for. Biden versus Trump. I know there's a lot of people out there who regard this as a distraction, and it, by and large, is a distraction. It's sort of like football or sports or something that really takes our eyes off the things that are very important, which is the way in which America is being run into the ground by the current administration. Hold on, there's a dog touching my toes here. America is not on a good path right now, and I say that as someone who has chosen to temporarily and potentially permanently move down there. Not on the right path, but if there's a place where the fight for freedom is going to continue, it's going to be America. Tonight is Biden versus Trump in the first, and I suspect only, presidential debate that we're going to get of this 2024 election cycle. And the question is, what's going to happen? How's it going to go down? For those of you who have been living under a rock, the debate is on CNN. CNN has given the rights to other networks to broadcast this, to restream it, from what I understand, with strict requirements that they can't have commentary over it, so they've got to share the feed and, give full credit to CNN. CNN has announced that it would be very harsh on DMCA takedowns, the Digital Millennial Copyright Act takedowns, that if people restream this, rebroadcast this, even with commentary, that they would issue copyright takedown notices and they would take down the streams. And YouTube, part of the problem here, has indicated that it will certainly adhere to these demands from CNN because copyright abuse on YouTube is a feature, not a bug. There's a whole process with DMCA takedown notices. You can contest it and claim fair use, and then they can reply to that request to contest the takedown notice. I'm not going to give you a tutorial on that. You can Google that if you want. Bottom line, there are exceptions to copyright infringement. One of those is fair use commentary. There will undoubtedly be lots of fair use commentary of this stream as it is streaming because a lot of people are coming not necessarily for the show itself, but for the commentary, analysis, and I dare say humor that will ensue from this debate. We'll see. YouTube has indicated, from what I understand, that it will take down people who are streaming even with fair use commentary. Rumble, Twitter, and we will be broadcasting our live stream with commentary on locals, will abide by the law, and I will contest any DMCA takedown notice that I get from CNN because I consider it abusive in the first place. I dare ask the question whether or not one can even lay claim to a presidential debate, lay copyright claim to a presidential debate. It's much like, can you claim copyright over a presidential speech or a work of a federal employee? I ask the question because I'm not even sure that this is copyright material in the first place. I might raise the argument that it's public domain in the first place, but certainly rebroadcast with commentary is transformative fair use. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but CNN has indicated it's going to be harsh on the takedowns, so everyone should be forewarned. The rules of the debate. There's some controversy, there's some misunderstandings, there's some rumors. The rules of the debate, as far as I understand, there's a mute button for each of these speakers, so they will be muted when the other is speaking. 90 minutes, they're going to share the time. I think Biden goes first. It was by flip of the coin. What else? Nobody gets questions in advance, unlike in, 2016 when Hillary Clinton got the questions in advance? Whatever. If they tell you they don't get the questions in advance, the only assurance that you don't get the questions in advance to the adversary is a cheating, lying scum of an adversary saying they didn't give the questions in advance to any one of the candidates, like CNN Donna Brazile did back in 2016 by giving Hillary Clinton the questions to the debate. All right, so there will be no questions in advance, no earpieces from what I can tell, and there'll be no help, no notes, whatever, although each candidate will have a pen and a paper and a bottle of water from what I understand. Okay. There were rumors brewing that CNN was going to implement a 1 to 2 minute, maybe 3 minute delay of the debate, above and beyond the 7-second delay for expletives. And in this particular context, there might be the risk of expletives because Trump might, with righteous indignation, use an expletive, and Biden, in senile dementia, might accidentally use an expletive. From what I understand, it is a rumor. CNN has denied that there's going to be any above and beyond a normal standard broadcast delay in the context of this debate. Trump was asking for drug testing before this because it's a joke, but it's not a joke. Everybody knows when Sleepy Joe, Demented Joe, is pepped up on whatever the heck they jack him up with so he can go give a crimson speech at the podium and look like a raging at the mouth frothing lunatic. Everybody knows whether or not you're senile, as you get older, you take drugs, you take medications. So the idea that this would be totally clean in the first place, I'm sure one of them's on Lipitor, all right? They might be on some drugs, whether or not you want to call them performance-enhancing drugs. That's a question of characterizing what we all agree is probably the case. Undoubtedly, Joe is going to be on something or have been given some form of medication. But the White House, when asked to confirm that Joe would not be on any performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, for a presidential debate, the White House wouldn't dignify that with an answer. Which, to me, is, ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies. We all know what's going to happen. The only question is how much and will it last? All right, what do we expect for tonight? Everybody is announcing that it's going to be a setup for Trump. And I have been saying this, and it's a bit of a long shot, but I'm going to claim to be the smartest person in the room if it turns out to be the case. Yes, it's going to be a setup for Trump. Yes, they will be fact-checking Trump in real time. Jake the fake tapper is going to have a little earbud in. Whatever Trump says, they're going to fact-check, even if it's clearly hyperbolic or clearly a matter of an opinion, and hope to stump him on that. I have no doubt that they're going to try to ask Trump questions that risk putting him at odds with the remaining provision of the gag order that was issued by and amended by Judge Juan Marchand, the totally corrupt judge whose daughter has been raking in millions off the Alvin Bragg prosecution funded by George Soros out of New York that has led to Trump being a convicted felon with 34 felonies against him. The convicted felon is debating the senile, demented old Joe. I have no doubt that Jake the fake tapper, and I think Dana Bash is the other co-host, is going to ask him questions that could put him at odds with the remaining provision of that gag order, Section B, being that Trump cannot disparage, threaten, or comment on the judge, the judge's family, Alvin Bragg's family, or the family of the court. Ask Trump to complain about how corrupt that prosecution was, and he might risk saying something that could put him in violation of the remaining Section B of that gag order. And then you might have Judge Marchand really get to threaten to lock Trump up again, because do recall, I think he was found in criminal contempt 10 times in virtue of gag orders in the Judge Juan Marchand case. So that undoubtedly is going to happen. My prediction, and my longer shot prediction, so if it doesn't come to fruition, I can say it was a long shot. If it does, I can claim to be the smartest guy in the room. It's a setup for Joe Biden. I predict, and it's a bit of a longer shot, it's not going to be a question of Joe skating through the night and the Mark Hamills of the world saying, he did very well, I had low expectations, given the debate, yada, yada, but he still did well. I have a feeling Joe Biden is going to crash and burn, and that this entire setup is as much a setup for Biden as it is for Trump, because everybody knows Biden needs to be replaced on the ticket. Everybody knows he's demented. Everybody knows he's losing his mind in real time in front of all of us at a rate that is becoming exponential over the years. How do you make him back off the ticket? How do you make him replaceable, or how do you get him replaced on the ticket? Have him have a public meltdown, a public embarrassment that would put that frozen moment at the G7 to shame. Have him have a meltdown, an embarrassing moment that everyone has to then say, undoubtedly, he needs to be replaced. And this is the setup so they can get that pretext and have him replaced. And I say, have him replaced by the man who has become more and more looking like Joe Biden, mini evil me, Gavin the Gruesome Newsom. That's what I think is going to happen. There are jokes going around, play a drinking game every time Joe Biden says, no, I really mean it, or no, don't play drinking games, because you will be dead. You will be unconscious and dead by the end of this, because undoubtedly, don't drink every time Joe Biden says something that you cannot understand. Don't drink every time he mumbles. Don't drink every time he says, I'm not joking. Don't drink every time, oh, I don't know. Don't drink every time Trump asks Joe about the laptop. Might only happen once, but it had better happen. Oh, if Trump does not grill Joe on his lies from 2020, the Russian disinformation campaign about Hunter Biden's laptop, the diary has now been confirmed to be authentic, which means that Ashley Biden thinks that she was possibly molested by Joe, that he showered with her at an inappropriate age, that she was sexualized as a child. That's now confirmed to be true. Memories of a woman writing it as an adult as to the trauma she suffered at the hands of creepy, sleepy Joe Biden when she was a kid. Confirmed true. The laptop confirmed true, which means that Joe Biden lied through his teeth, which we all know. I know nothing about my son's business. A lie. We know that that's a lie. And the reality is this is an easy slam dunk for Trump, because if they pull chicanery, all he has to do is summarize their chicanery. make CNN look like the scoundrels that they are. And even if he comes up there and only gets out very simple talking points, low-level stuff that can't be fact-checked or contradicted, and just brings the obvious to the American people, while Joe Biden crashes and burns, as I predict he's going to do, that will be a victory. I think that's what's going to happen. One thing's for certain, it's going to be awesome to watch. I will be live streaming it on Rumble, Locals, and Twitter with commentary from the big brain of law, Robert Barnes, and everybody else is going to be streaming this as well. It's the spectacle of all spectacles. You know damn well Putin is looking at this corrupt Biden regime saying, holy crab apples, they're locking up their opponents, they're taking political prisoners, they're locking people up for life while they open their border and let the country go to hell. They're looking at Joe Biden, laughing their asses off that this man is the purported leader of the free world. Trump, expose the fact that it's Obama behind all of this. Expose the fact that it's Biden as a figurehead to a deep state regime that all that it wants is war, feeding the military-industrial complex, greasing up the wheels of that machine with the blood of people across the world, specifically Ukrainians. And now you finally got Zelensky saying that we need to come to a settlement because enough Ukrainians have died. Yeah, well, something tells me Zelensky's fate in all of this, after he sent a generation of Ukrainian men and women to the slaughter, is not going to be a happy fate. But bottom line, the world is watching this, and they're going to witness a cataclysmic meltdown of Joe Biden, is my prediction. They're going to witness a stellar performance from Donald Trump, is my prediction. And I say this not only as someone who firmly believes that Donald Trump needs to win this election, and that people need to vote for Donald Trump, even if they don't like him. Because if you don't, and if he doesn't get elected and they win with this lawfare, you no longer have a democracy, you no longer have an election, you have a deep state selection. And so whether you like him or not, it doesn't matter. It's what he represents at this point in time. And I think the vast majority of Americans are beginning to realize that. You're seeing it in the election results. Jamal Bowman, the man who can't distinguish a fire alarm from a handle, got voted out. You're seeing it up in Canada, a shift, a populist shift, a little conservative stronghold now in the middle of a deep red sea of liberalism. We are seeing it because liberalism, capital L, and democracy, Democrats, capital D, Democrats, they're corrupt. They do not care and give a damn about the people. And now people are finally understanding it with the border crisis, inflation, war abroad. You know, if Trump can summarize it with one or two sentences, when he was president, you had peace, you didn't have any new international conflict, and you had a thriving economy at home. And what do you have now? War abroad, inflation at home, crime at home, an open border that is leading to the destruction of a country and the replacement of its people. There I said it. Stay tuned. We'll be live. I don't know what time it is now, but 8:30. And we will see what I said in this video and how it comes to fruition. Or not. Who knows? Winston, what do you have to say?
Enjoy the show. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure that your notifications are turned on.
Okay, whatever. You know what to do. Peace out. Booyah!